Hello everyone, glad to be back. Today is 4th of April, now it's 11:30, middle of the day by Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my channel in which I share latest updates on the news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. There are quite a few very significant developments and news that I like to share with you for this moment. But before I start, let me once again emphasize how grateful I am for your time, attention and support. It really does mean a lot to me, so thank you very much. That being said, let's talk about news now. And today I will start with Finland because, according to a statement that head of NATO Jens Stoltenberg made, today Finland will officially join NATO and will become a 31st member of this military organization, military alliance. Quite a significant development, especially when it comes to relationships between Russia and Finland. And even though Moscow was not really hawkish towards Finland because of its decision to join NATO, it's obvious that relationships between the countries will deteriorate significantly, and Finland will probably lose all its benefits that it enjoy for decades while being neutral state. Yet again, this is a decision that Finnish society wanted, as I understand, and responsibility for consequences also lays with the citizens of Finland and its elites, its government. Let's continue now. During the day, probably we will hear some statements from Moscow about this development, and I will share all the additional information on my Telegram channel. Let's continue now, and the next news that I'd like to share with you is reported by RIA Novosti News Agency, according to which during the previous night Russian side did conduct drone strikes on military and logistic infrastructure of Zelensky's regime. And I did share on my Telegram channel information about these strikes. Many areas that are under control of Zelensky's regime were targeted, especially Odessa region. And according to some reports, airfield was hit in Odessa region, and also manufacturing plant. And even though there is no detailed information what exactly was targeted, what kind of damage was done, my guess is that Russian side strike manufacturing plant where some drones were manufactured and stored, and also airfield where headquarters probably are based that are operating with drones. But it's quite possible that there could be some aeroplanes also of Zelensky's regime on that airfield. I did share videos on my Telegram channel about massive explosions that took place after these drone strikes, so quite significant damage probably was definitely done. As I said, during the day we will probably learn more, and I will share all additional information on my Telegram channel. If you are not subscribed yet, you will see link to my Telegram channel under this video in the description box. And I do share tens of different informations during the day on Telegram. Let's continue now, and still RIA Novosti News Agency's report, according to which head of Kherson region, Vladimir Saldo, denied information that was spread by Zelensky's regime and Ukrainian Telegram channels yesterday afternoon about evacuation of civilians from Skadovska area of Kherson region. And Saldo said that there is no evacuation from anywhere under that in Kherson region that are under Russian control, but he also did ironize little bit, and he did warn Zelensky's regime that it's them should be prepared to evacuate the military forces from Kherson, because Russian side don't think about evacuation. Russian side is thinking to establish full control over the Kherson region, and it's only a matter of time, and the entire region will be under full Russian control again. And it's hard to argue with this statement of Saldo. I'm also sure that it's only a matter of time and the entire Kherson region will be under Russian control. Not just Kherson region, but I'm quite sure Nikolaev and Odessa regions will also become under full Russian control. I have no doubts about that. It's only a matter of time. Let's continue now, and this is TASS News Agency's report about statements that officials from Zaporozhye region, Vladimir Rogov, made, and according to him, increased shelling of Melitopol means that Zelensky's regime is preparing ground or testing ground for upcoming and anticipated by many large-scale counteroffensive of Zelensky's regime in direction of Azov Sea. Let me show you on the map this area. So this is Kherson region, by the way, and this is Zaporozhye region. We are talking about this land bridge, basically between Crimea and mainland Russia. And as I reported in previous days, Zelensky's regime definitely increased its activity in direction of Kherson region and Zaporozhye region, and Melitopol city, which is here, almost in the middle of this land bridge, have become target of Zelensky's regime many times in previous days, and this will probably continue, because, as I predicted quite a long time ago now, because Washington and London demanding from Zelensky to conduct counteroffensive operation in direction of this land bridge, Zelensky and his military don't really have a choice. Even if they are not ready, or even if they are sure that this counteroffensive will fail, they have to conduct counteroffensive anyway, because that's what Washington wants, and Biden administration is desperate for good news right now, and probably in coming days now, in next few weeks, we will see beginning of this announced counteroffensive. Russian side probably are ready, and as I said many times before, only way Zelensky's regime will establish control over this land bridge between Crimea and mainland Russia is if Moscow will order Russian forces to withdraw from this area. But I hope this will not happen, and in that case, Zelensky's regime just have no chances to be successful. Not in this direction, not in any other direction on the front line. Let's continue now, and next information that I'd like to share with you is about Ukraine's air forces. Many of you probably are surprised that Zelensky's regime still operates fighter jets, still operates some helicopter fleet. And I do see your comments in comment sections about this issue. How come that they still operating fighter jets? Well, first of all, Zelensky's regime did have hundreds of military planes before the start of this special military operation. And in other hand, we all know that Western states, NATO member states, deliver to Zelensky's regime many aviation equipment, not just helicopters, but also fighter jets, especially MiG-29s. So we have information here from official of Ukraine This time, this person, Yuri Ignat, is aide of leadership of Ukrainian air forces. And according to him, Zelensky's regime right now has about 5 brigades of fighter jets, 3 brigades of MiG-29s, and 2 brigades of Su-27 fighters. And overall, we can say that Zelensky's regime right now operates about 72 fighter jets. Big number. I was also surprised when I see this number. Maybe this person is just lying. Maybe he's just lying. I'm quite sure Zelensky's regime probably has some 10, 15 fighter jets left, but not 70, man. Not 70. But that's probably way that they want to boost morale of armed forces of Ukraine, and that's why they are coming up with this kind of statements. I truly don't believe, I truly find it difficult to believe that Zelensky's regime did somehow manage to hide 70 fighter jets, because it's not just fighter jets, it's maintenance crew, it's stockpile of spare parts, and it's just huge operation to operate this huge fleet. And Russian side will probably notice this and will strike bases that those planes are operating from. But yet again, that's information that Russian media is writing, and I did share it with you. Zelensky's regime is saying that they have about 70 fighter jets, MiG-29s and Su-24s. I believe they have much less. Maybe 10, maybe 15, 20. And probably all of them are, all those MiG-29s that they have left have been delivered by Poland and Slovakia or some other member states. We should understand that when Western states say officially that they deliver, let's say, 5 MiG-29s or 4 MiG-29s, probably they did deliver much more. But they are hiding information about it. Let's continue now, and this is RIA Novosti news agencies. A report about strike that Russian side conducted in Zaporozhye region against foreign mercenaries, and according to, yet again, official of Zaporozhye region, Vladimir Rogov, one of the hideouts of foreign mercenaries were struck, and dozens of mercenaries were neutralized. Dozens of mercenaries were neutralized yet again, because this is Zaporozhye region, this area. I think Russian side is in preparation to repel any possible counteroffensive from Zelensky's regime. Russian side is proactive and targeting military installations and groups of Ukrainian armed forces in this area, and of course, probably we will, we can say that probably large quantity of foreign mercenaries are also located in this area, especially from Poland and Germany, because Poland and Germany did send quite large number of Western-made battle tanks, Leopard 2 tanks, and Leopard 1 tanks when it comes to Germany, for example. And I'm quite sure crew of those tanks and maintenance brigades will also will be from those countries, from Western countries. And even though Rogov did not share details who exactly was targeted, what was what kind of group that was targeted, ordinary soldiers or something else, but my guess is that Russian side may be targeted exactly the tank crews Western-made battle tanks and maybe even maintenance brigades. But yet again, once this counteroffensive will start, I'm quite sure hundreds of foreign mercenaries will find their last day in this area. And majority of them will be from Poland, from Germany, from other NATO member states. Let's continue with some other news now, and yet again we have a TASS news agency's report here that US expects that counteroffensive of Zelensky's regime, large-scale counteroffensive of Zelensky's regime will begin in coming days. And this was said by, let me translate his position, if I may, just a second. So this was said by, what is wrong? Julian Smith, US permanent representative to NATO. So he said this yesterday that US expects Ukrainian counteroffensive in coming days, in coming weeks, we can probably say. And of course, he is talking about this direction. Yet again, Zaporozhye direction. This topic gonna be main one for this month, probably entire April, before this counteroffensive will begin. Probably this topic will be main one in Russian media outlets and in probably Western media outlets on daily basis. But yet again, I'm quite sure this will be a huge failure for Zelensky's regime, this counteroffensive, and after that counteroffensive will fail because simultaneously we will see in coming days that Russia did establish or will establish control over the Bakhmut and will encircle Chisov Yar. Russia will simultaneously, and let me yet again show you this area on the map. So Bakhmut fairly soon will become under full Russian control. Simultaneously, Russian side will establish better positions, will move forward in direction of Seversk, in direction of Liman and Kupiansk. Here also Avdiivka probably will be encircled. Marinka will be liberated, and I think Russian side will, once Russian side will establish control over the Velika Novoselovka here, this settlement, we may see some pincer movement from Russian side to encircle Ugledar and all the forces of Zelensky's regime that are in this area. And basically, when all this will happen, Zelensky probably will lose its importance for Washington. And at that point, especially because of fail of this counteroffensive in the direction of Azov Sea, at that point probably we will see regime change in Ukraine. And Ukraine's military will probably take over. And Zelensky will be forced to flee Ukraine. That's my prediction. And it will happen in next 2-3 months. Let's see. In 2-3 months' time, I will come back to this topic, and I will, we will see how correct this prediction was. How correct or incorrect, Of course, White House don't really share its plans with me, so it's just my prediction. Let's continue now, and this is TASS news agency's report, according to which Zelensky's regime only received 19% of Western-made battle tanks that Zelensky was promised by Western leaders. And TASS news agency did conduct analytic work on this issue, and based on official information that was in open sources, TASS is writing that Zelensky's regime did receive only 57 Western-made battle tanks from 293 that was promised. We have some numbers, also additional numbers here. Germany, for example, promised 14 tanks, but Germany definitely deliver more Leopard 2 tanks, and same time Berlin promised to deliver 178 Leopard 1 tanks also. And according to some Russian sources that have some inside information, Germany did deliver much more tanks that was officially stated, including Leopard 1 tanks. And according to those channels, those Telegram channels, for example, Zelensky's regime already received more than 100 Western-made battle tanks, about 150. So this information from TASS based on just official statements from Western side about deliveries. But as I said just a few minutes ago, Western states officially are saying one number, and in reality they are delivering much more weapons and the military equipment to Zelensky's regime. And this move kind of understandable, because they want this to be kind of surprised for Russian side, and that's what is happening in reality. But yet again, we will see when Zelensky's regime will start counteroffensive. We will see how many Western-made battle tanks they will introduce to battlefield. Let's continue now, and still TASS news agencies report about Chinese decision, Chinese statement that Beijing is ready to conduct dialogue with the EU about peace negotiations around Ukraine. But yet again, in this statement from Beijing, it's interesting note that Beijing expects that EU will act as or at least try to act as a strategically independent party. But of course we all know that it's impossible. Key to peace negotiations over the Ukraine is in Washington and partially in London, but not in Brussels. Brussels means nothing nowadays. And from China, this is just kind of diplomatic gesture that, you know what, you asking us to be more proactive and talk to you about Ukraine. Okay, let's talk about it, but make sure that you are at least trying to act as a independent side. So clever move from Chinese side, but of course in Beijing, in Moscow, in Washington, London, and even in Brussels, everyone knows very well that real decision makers are in Washington and London. So it's up to them when peace negotiations will begin, and when Zelensky's regime, or regime in Kiev, because in few months' time there will be no Zelensky in Ukraine, but that regime in Kiev, when that regime will capitulate, basically. And it will happen. It's only a matter of time. So at this point, let me say a few words about my channel, promote my channel, if I may. So, dear friends, first of all, I want to thank all of you for your support. I did read many of your comments on yesterday's update, and I am truly grateful for your support. By the way, I don't want to leave this project. Maybe I did not express myself in yesterday's update well enough, so I will explain it now. I don't want to leave this project. I want to continue work, and I want to improve as a presenter, and I want to improve this channel and make more content, and not just about news and politics. And I will continue to be active on this channel even when I will find a full-time job. I may not be able to make updates on daily basis because when I was working in Leroy Merlin, and I left Leroy Merlin on 12th of January this year. Before that, all of you that are long enough in our community knows that sometimes I was unable to make updates, even one update in a week. So pauses between the videos were quite significant, and that's because I was just too tired. It's difficult. You coming from long hours of work, and then you have to go through news and record update and then upload this, and then of course it's necessary to be active in community, be active part of community, our community. So that's why I'm trying as much as I can to react on as many comments as I possibly can. And it was impossible to do, because you are just too tired, man, after long hours of work. And but still I was managing to be active, maybe not every day, but I was trying, and I will do the same now. I'm actively looking for a job. I did apply for many vacancies, and for now there is no reply, but after all, I can ask employment agencies for help, and it's their business. They will probably find for me a job. If nothing else will work. But yet again, I'm not leaving this project. I will be active on my weekends, for example, and on weekdays also, when I so I hope I did explain myself, but anyway, yes, I'm talking too much about this topic. And yes, when it comes to channel, dear friends, if you think this channel is interesting, useful, has some potential, and deserves to exist in this field of news and political commentary, please consider to support with small donations through PayPal, or subscribe to my Patreon page. You will see links under this video in the description box. And the question time, by the way, today. I want to, oh goodness, and I forget the question that I was thinking to reply. Okay, I will write for tomorrow's question time. So let's continue now. Let me check time. It's 29 minutes. Okay, so this is TASS News Agency's report, and we have statement from Biden's administration. John Kirby did made a statement that USA is, and Joe Kirby is, let me translate his official position. Of course, all of you know who John Kirby is, but let me say, translate his official position. So, strategic communications coordinator at White House National Security Council. So that's what John Kirby is, and he said that Washington is agree with Moscow that there is no place for nuclear war, and no one side should even consider using nuclear weapons. And yes, in this, it's hard to argue with these kind of statements. Of course, no one side should use nuclear weapons, and it should be always obvious that nuclear exchange between the superpowers will leave no winners. Everyone will lose. But same time, I think John Kirby and his bosses in Washington should realize that if they will continue to escalate towards Russia, then they may provoke Moscow on use of some extreme force. Only so much can Moscow tolerate when it comes to Western aggressiveness and Western escalation. So yes, no one side should use nuclear weapons, but if Western elites will truly endanger Russian Federation, statehood of Russian Federation, and Russian citizens, then Moscow will don't really have any other option other than use all necessary means to defend itself. And Putin himself did talk about this many times. And I don't think it's necessary for me to repeat now what Putin did said about this topic, or what some other high-ranking Russian officials did say. So let's continue now. This is RT reporting that civilians were killed in Israeli strike on Syria, on Damascus. Yet again, Israel is very actively striking Syria in previous days. I don't really understand why Israel's government is escalating so much, but I'm afraid if this will continue, and Israelis are striking Iranian or pro-Iranian groups in Syria, as I understand, and if this will continue, then Israel very well may provoke conflict, not just with Syria, but Israel may provoke conflict with Hezbollah, Lebanese political and military movement. And Hezbollah is not a joke, man. It's a very capable military wing of this organization, is a very capable one, and I'm not sure Israelis, citizens of Israel, truly want yet another war with Hezbollah. So that's why this activity of Israel is truly raising questions. I mean, why they are provoking Iran. And Iran definitely has some influence over the Hezbollah, because Hezbollah is a Shiite, mainly Shiite political and military movement, and Iran is a Shiite state. And yes, I mean, society of Israel should wake up and I don't know, do something about it, because current government of Israel may very well provoke yet another war with Hezbollah by these hostilities that they are conducting against Syria and against Iran, basically. So do they really want this? I don't know. I don't think so. Let's continue now and RIA Novosti is reporting that prosecutor requalified. Let me translate this once again. One day my English probably will become good enough so that I will not need translations, but for now. So prosecutor classifies all charges against Trump, and now all charges that was brought against Trump are classified as criminal charges. So what we're gonna say, man? This is a masquerade. This is a circus. This is political prosecution of opposition leader in USA that is happening, and I'm afraid if White House will not stop, and if those neoliberals did not stop acting like some dictators, then they may provoke some internal turmoil in US, because Trump is probably most popular politician in US right now and for a long time now. And I don't think Trump supporters will take it easily that he has been politically prosecuted by his political opponents. And truly, US now looks like some dictatorship. Those neoliberals and neocons truly acting like US is a dictatorship. It's unbelievable that we are saying this or we are seeing US in this prism, but it is what it is, man. If Trump was guilty of anything, then why they did not act before he become active in politics? Why all this noise around Trump has begun since he became a president and since he become a leader of Republican Party? It's a logical question, isn't it? Let's continue. Yes, by the way, according to some experts, it's highly unlikely that Trump will be prosecuted or Trump will be jailed. He may be prosecuted, but sentence will not include jail time. But experts maybe are wrong. Who knows, man? Because when it comes to neoliberals and neocons, they are crazy, man. They can do anything, really. They are able, certainly. So let's continue now. This is RIA Novosti's report about change of Chinese policy when it comes to Kuril Islands. As you know, Japan has some territorial dispute with Russia, and Tokyo wants 4 islands in Kuril archipelago, and China, during the reign of Mao Zedong, because there were some difficulties in relationships between Soviet Union and China was supporting Japan in this issue of those of those islands. And now China is taking neutral position. So China is not supporting Japanese claim that those islands are Japanese. And this is a significant change in Chinese foreign policy. It shows you once again that Beijing is truly trying to establish even more closer relationships with Russia. Because, as I said, this policy was standing for decades that China was supporting Japanese claim, but now they are not. They are trying to keep neutral position, quite significant information in my opinion. And when it comes to Iceland, we are talking about Kunashir, Katan, Iturup, and Habumai. 4 islands close to Japan. Let's continue now. Let's continue, and by the way, Russia should not give to Japan nothing, really. And let me show you on the map this area that I'm talking about. So that's islands that we are talking about. These ones here. And this Iceland has a crucial meaning for Russia because of fleet. Because Russian Pacific Fleet will lose its ability to freely move in this area if these islands were Japanese. And that's why Russia cannot give up those islands. No way. Let's continue now, and that's a quite interesting news. Also, RIA Novosti is reporting that former foreign minister of Austria, Karin Kneissl, said that worst times for EU are ahead of it because, and she was talking about energy security of EU, and she did said that because of rising of price of gas in USA, Washington may be forced to reduce its LNG exports, or maybe even block entirely LNG export, so that to keep prices low in USA itself. And if that will happen, Europe will end up in very difficult situation because there is not enough LNG supply on the market, and it will be difficult for European countries to receive gas, especially in current situation when EU member states distance themselves from Russia, and not just distance themselves, but gas pipelines, for example, Nord Stream gas pipelines were even blown up or were sabotaged by US and Norway. And there are some reports now that maybe even Poland was involved in that operation. But anyhow, if former foreign minister of Austria is right, and if Washington will be forced to decrease its LNG exports to keep prices on gas low internally inside the US, then Europe truly are in big trouble, because Qatar, huge LNG exporter, officially said quite some time ago now that it don't really has enough LNG to supply Europe, or to deliver all the energy, all the gas that Europe needs. So let's see how it will develop, but it was obvious from the very beginning that Europeans will lose this easy ride. European economy will lose its easy ride for decades when they enjoy cheap energy from Soviet Union or from Russia. Now they have to pay, and they have to pay twice or 3 times more for gas, for LNG from Qatar, from USA, from some other LNG exporters, and if US will cut its LNG exports, then EU truly are in trouble. So I do see logic in statements of former foreign minister of Austria. And by the way, this information is basically kind of continuation of previous one, because according to Reuters, German, let me translate this for you. So German insurance companies will renew insurances basically for Nord Stream pipelines, and this is quite significant. We are talking about Allianz insurance company and Munich Re, and this is significant because once this once Nord Stream will have insurance again, it will be much easier to rebuild damaged pipelines. But to be honest, I don't think it's in best Russian interests to do anything about those pipelines, because Germany cannot be trusted. Modern Germany, unfortunately, cannot be trusted. So Moscow will make a huge mistake if they will try to rebuild those pipelines, even if Germany will pay for it. I don't think Moscow should even care about these projects no more. It was a mistake from very beginning, because Germany should not be trusted during the Merkel's reign, because she demonstrated many times that she was Russophobic. She did demonstrate it many times that she was anti-Russian politician. But and of course, especially it's just too risky for Russian side to yet again start investing in that pipelines. No, because German leadership cannot be trusted, just cannot. But they want Russian gas. That's why these insurance companies were told, of course, that they should insure, that they should give insurances to those projects, Nord Stream projects, because they know very well that if US will be forced to cut its LNG supply to Europe, then EU in big trouble. Especially Germany, because after all, Germany is a leading manufacturing country, leading industrial country in Europe, and biggest economy in Europe. But yet again, if it was up to me, I will say to German side, you know what? Good luck to you. Find gas anywhere you want, but I will not supply you nothing, and I will stay away from these projects. You had a chance, and you act like crazy, and yeah, so bye bye now. That's what will be my approach in this case. Let's continue now. Let's continue, and this is quite interesting news. Moscow exchange index has risen over 2,500 points, which is the first time since April of 2022. Since the beginning of 2023, index of Moscow exchange did rise 16%, and even though these exchanges are not that crucial for Russia, for Russian society, it's mainly banks and big companies and big investors that are playing on exchanges. Society is not really involved, like it in US, for example. But still, still these kind of numbers do show you that investors believe in Russian economy, and that's quite reassuring, let's say, news. And this is gonna be last information for today's update. Unfortunately, Russian ruble is continuing to weaken, to become more weak, and today exchange rate of ruble and dollar is 79 to 1, so 79 rubles for $1. I did predict it that this will happen, and Russian ruble will become more and more weak because it's good for big Russian companies, especially those that are working on foreign markets, that are exporters basically, and weak ruble is also good for Russian government because they can more easily fill up the budget this way. But yet again, it's probably leaders of Russian financial sector know what they are doing, because even though I disagree with their policies when it comes to weakening ruble artificially, they are big professionals, because Russian economy is holding despite so much pressure from the West, and Russian economy holding because of policies that current leaders of Russian financial sector is conducting. So, probably they know what they are doing. And this is it. This is it for now. This is it for now. I hope you will find this video interesting, and if so, please hit that like button. Leave some commentary about any topic you like. And if you can, please share links to my videos or my channel with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, Telegram, or any other platform that you are active on. That will greatly increase my chances to reach wider audience, and of course I will be very grateful for that help. So yes, have a nice day, take care, and see you soon.